Welcome back to the show, everybody. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. We're going to talk about why we're here. And you know why I'm here? Because I want to get extremely wealthy, and I want to do it as smart as possible and as quickly and safely as possible. And that means I need to start taking a look at what my exit strategies are going to be, and do I need to exit at all? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Just to let you know, this is one of the things I've been doing for my retirement. It's I Trust Capital. That's right, crypto, gold, and silver IRAs, baby. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. That's what I do. Yeah, buy and sell crypto in the back end. You can move it all around. Absolutely. Transfer your existing IRA or start a new one. Roll over your 401k and everything else that goes along with it. They even have staking. Check it out and see if it's right for yourself. Now, let's get to this video and talk about some of the different things that people consider when they talk about actually exit strategies and how to retire, how to reverse engineer your life so you can figure out exactly what you want your life to be. This is different, and it is so important for everyone as an individual to do this for themselves. No one can do this for you. Relax, sit back, get that cup of coffee, and enjoy the video. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
But today I wanted to put together a video about exit strategy. What do you need to retire? Now, this is different for everyone. And before I get started, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But what I wanted to do is take a collection of a lot of the ideas that I've seen going around that people have suggested about the idea of an exit strategy. And then I wanted to shed my thoughts and insight about some of the things that I use on what I would need to retire, because the big goal for me in this whole investment world is about getting my time back with my family. So, all right, let's go ahead and start. Shout out to Mr. BXRP for this first point, because he made an excellent point. He has a great exit strategy video himself, and so does DAI. Shout out to him, because there's a couple points that I borrowed from him as well. And I wanted to talk about the idea that if you're going to do an exit strategy where no matter what you're going to do, whether you're taking $10, you're going to take a position at $10 or $5 or 100 or 1,000 or whatever that is, and we'll get into that in a second. I think it's a good idea, if you do plan to have a going to cash moment, cashing out, going to your bank account, some kind of a withdrawal, an exit position, then you want to be doing, before that happens, some kind of a test to make sure that your accounts are connected and everything is working. I can tell you that I was here for the 2017 bull run, watched it happen. I FOMO'd all the way up the bull run, and then bought all the way back down and through the entire bear market. And I'm grateful for the bear market to be able to do that. But I will say that, I watched that happen, and I can tell you, it is one hell of a rush when that bull run is going on in like 24, 26 days, somewhere in that time frame, and watched it move very quickly up to 384 or 385, whatever it was, at XRP's all-time high. And it was just a rush to see it move that quickly. And you don't think clearly. You're not sure where it's going to peak out. You don't know, is it going to stop at 350? Is it 380? Is it going to stop at $10? You don't know. And one thing I am sure of, at least for myself, and that I think people should consider for theirself, is you want to have some kind of a plan in place. And it doesn't mean that it can't be flexible or a liquid plan that could change with the options of things to come, because I do believe that there will be a lot of things to come that are not available to us as of yet. We'll get to that. So looking at the next point here, $10, $100, $1,010, whatever that mark is for you or point of exit for you, some people will attach a percentage to that. So they may choose at $10 to take 10% or 20%. And again, the same ratio, depending what the mark is, it may be $50 or $5. I don't know. But some people set this traditional kind of percentage taking and profits along the way up the ladder. And this is a very traditional approach to pulling profits, which you have to remember currently right now. I am aware that there is capital gains paid on cryptocurrencies as of right now. I do believe that this is potentially something that has the opportunity to change depending on the classification for XRP. But as it stands right now, it would be capital gains paid on anything that you accrued on your investment above your purchase price, your buy-in. So then there's also the notion too that some people actually plan on taking like whatever that percentage is at a certain price point that retrieves or recoups their original investment dollar amount. And then I know I have a couple friends that are that way. They're like, well, it's such and such percent for me and what they hold. They know I'm going to take 10% because that will get my original investment back. And then they plan on letting the rest of it ride. So that's another very, very standard kind of traditional approach for a lot of people as well. CDPs and interest earning lockup accounts percentage in each option. So, all right, so now here's another one. So CDPs, collateralized debt positions. Now, I think that CDPs and decentralized finance will be an enormous part of this entire digital asset space and the lending side, and just as is in the traditional world, and maybe even more so over time in 10 years, right? But the truth is, to me, is that the market is still young for me. So I know a lot of people that have had really great success with taking a collateralized debt position against some of their holdings or all of it or whatever they choose to do. For me personally, at this time, that is something I might consider for myself after an extremely high price, and I can know within my own research that my investments, whether it's XRP or something else, would be very reliable at that price, right? And I don't have to worry about getting liquidated, because the idea with the CDP is that you're going to have to put up X amount to get, Z amount. And if the price drops, you could get those holdings liquidated in order to keep it in good standing, right? So it's something you want to be careful with when the market is extremely volatile. And if you do choose to do it, you better make sure you over collateralize so that doesn't happen to you to at least a tune that you feel like you won't lose or get liquidated. Okay, interest earning lockups. Now, this is interesting too, because some people have talked about, and I think it's a shout out to Jerry Hall. I think he did covered this with somebody on his show once, not long ago, about somebody taking a collateralized debt position with a certain amount of holdings, and then that same person taking another batch of their holdings, maybe even the same amount, and locking that up in interest to try to counter the interest loan, right? And against the earnings earned in the other side of that holdings. Now, some people talk about that too, to try to cancel out any tax implications. Again, for me, I think we've got to go a little further here and find out, what is XRP? Is it going to be a commodity, and treated with capital gains? Is it going to be a currency? Is it going to be a hybrid where, depending on what the actual transaction is how it gets taxed? That's a possibility too, right? I think it gets a little messy when that happens, however. But now, moving on here, so then there's tax implications on all of this, as we just talked about. Guys, I've had Clinton Donnelly on. He is the crypto tax fixer. If you are unsure about your crypto holdings or your taxes, he's a very nice guy, and he's extremely knowledgeable, and they have helped people save, I think, over $40 million in crypto taxes and audits. That's a big number. And that tells me he knows exactly what he's doing. And we have him on the show quite regular. So keep an eye out for him to be on the show, because you're not going to want to miss anything he does. And maybe very soon, I think the tax deadline's October 15th was pushed back till now. Maybe I'll try to get him on the next week or two and just talk about anything new coming down the pipe. Okay, so now, with that being said, shallow bag idea versus deep bag idea. Now, this is an idea that came about because of Big Skinny and Mr. BXRP. They call it the shallow bag. And basically, which is you have a long-term position of holdings, X amount of whatever that is in your portfolio. And it doesn't have to just be XRP. It could be your whole portfolio, right? And then a small shallow bag of a specific coin or token, or a certain percentage of your portfolio could be considered a shallow bag as well. And the idea behind this approach is that you have access, you set in your mind a certain price point or price points for that shallow bag that allows you to take profits early on without touching or ruining the idea of your long-term holdings for your long-term investment, albeit retirement or whatever you've decided for yourself. So I think that's really nice. And I will tell you that is something I absolutely subscribe to. I definitely make sure that me and Mrs. Backup have shallow bags, and we do have a deep bag for our long-term portfolio. So, and that makes me feel good too, because now I really have compartmentalized for myself, okay, this amount over here, I don't have to feel bad about taking it at whatever dollar amount we've decided. I just know that I've decided that, and that's what we're going to do. And when the moment comes, that's how that's going to go. And then over here in the long-term holdings, I don't even have to consider that, because I'm letting that go for a great length of time, and I expect it to mature in an incredible way, because I do believe that XRP can be worth thousands of dollars. There's no question about that. So, how you hold your crypto, cold or hot storage or vault. Coinbase makes sure you understand what you need to do to access your holdings. Trying to figure out what to do while the market is going crazy is a great way to make a bad decision. Again, that's what we just talked about with the shallow bag, or not knowing what you're going to do, what your percentage you plan to exit the market, right? And this is something you really want to sit down with you or your spouse, or if it's just yourself, however, and you need to get clear with yourself here. Because I remember what that bull run was like, and it was intense watching it. You couldn't stop watching it. And the anxiety and the excitement of it all, and the rush of what you think it's going to do versus what it actually turned out doing, are usually two different things. So make sure that you have at least some kind of plan in place that, like I said, for me, I have shallow bags for me and Mrs. Backup, and we have a certain plan in place. It's not important what it is for me. It's just important that you know that we have that for ourselves. The details are irrelevant for public knowledge, right? But what's important is that you get down, and you don't have to have a shallow bag, but you could just tell yourself, I need to figure out, because based on your holdings, which you should never, ever, ever reveal the amount of whatever it is you hold online. Oh my goodness. I've had to tell a lot of people about that one, but never share that, and never do anything that could reveal or give somebody the ability to reverse engineer what you actually hold. Don't make that mistake either. Okay, so let's keep it moving here. So with whether you hold cold or hot storage here, it really comes into play where it's like, look, if you know what your plan is and you know what your price point is, then you need to make sure, or if you're just locked up in a vault in Coinbase, then you've got 48 hours to get your money released, right? So understand, again, for yourself what you need to do and what path you're going to take. How long will it take you to get from your Ledger Nano to send it over to your Coinbase or your Uphold or what Binance or whatever that exchange is for you, right? And figure that out, so that way okay, this is what I need to do, and then this is what we've decided that we're going to send there when we do it, right? And again, this goes back to the earlier point that I pointed out from Mr. BXRP. Make sure you have tested that path
Send a small amount, send 5, send 10, whatever that is, that small amount, to be able to test that path backwards, right? Try to get it out of your vault, take the 2 days to get it out, send the short amount, test it, send it over to wherever, cash it out, and then, send it to your bank account and go, wow, that whole process took me 12 days. That's what you need to know. Right? Because when this market's going nuts, that ain't the time you want to find out about it. You want to make sure that you understand, okay, if I do this now, I know by next Tuesday or whatever that is, I'm going to have the money in the account. So here, looking forward, this is another thing that I can tell you that I've absolutely taken advantage of. And again, there's some really great links in the description in the comment section. Only get them if you need them for yourself. But I'm going to tell you right now, I use iTrust Capital. I do have a crypto IRA because they're tax-free and tax-deferred. And some people feel more comfortable with an option for a couple reasons. One, they don't have to worry about losing their passwords or cold storage device. They put it in a crypto IRA and it's locked up and that's where it is. And two, you can invest and grow the portfolio tax-free. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And I tell you what, I'm not going to touch it till I'm 59, obviously, because that's one of the limits and requirements for me. But you know what? That is exciting to me that I have X amount there for me and Mrs. Backup when I'm 59, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's safe. It's there. They have a great custody solution with Curve. And I tell you, you should check them out if that's something that interests you. Or if you have a 401k from a job you lost. And now they even have a thing. Honestly, they have a thing now. If you have a crypto IRA somewhere else, you can transfer that from your IRA to the IRA with them, and they have the best rate going. Hands down, there's no question. And they just started offering gold, and I think they're going to be offering something else very soon too. I'm going to have Blake Skadron on the show very soon. Look, I had the pleasure to have an exchange with Dilip Rao on Twitter after he gave a conference, and I asked, would retail investors in XRP be able to hold and continue to remain investors in XRP and participate in the market? And he gave me a great analogy, and I know I'm paraphrasing to a degree, about the ecosystem of the ocean requires little fish and big fish, and it takes all kinds of species to survive. And some fish even grow up to be big fish. And I'm paraphrasing again, but there is the analogy, meaning when the price goes up high enough, we could become market makers. And that's something I'm extremely excited about, the idea of becoming a market maker, which again is another form, not through necessarily Celsius, but, to be able to lock up my XRP and be able to gain interest, earn interest on that while someone else uses it, like institutions, right? So that could be a pretty remarkable experience, but that is not something that I have seen in the degree that I want to see it yet. But I can tell you, I think it's exciting that XRP's opened up a line of credit as a form of business activity to the 6 billion plus XRP that they hold to start issuing lines of credit for customers. Now, I think that's pretty remarkable too. And that is available for institutions, not consumers from them. You may never need to cash out. Everything is changing so fast that you may be able to remain in the digital form and even in the asset XRP and never cash out. That's exactly right. And this is one of the things that I'm glad that I have a shallow bag for us, as well as a long-term bag, a deep bag for our portfolio. And for me, one of the things I'm looking at as an option is a crypto card. If we never have to cash out, and this is specifically based on if XRP was deemed a currency and not a commodity, one of the things I'm looking at is a crypto card-like option, like CoinZoom as an example, a Visa card-based platform. Depending on the classification, like I said, whether XRP is ruled a commodity or a currency, if deemed a currency, I may choose to send small amounts. If the prices are high enough for me to take part of this thing, I may choose to send small amounts as needed to a crypto card like CoinZoom. And I like this idea because this would keep my long-term holdings completely separate and secure from my allotment for expenses and on my spending platform. With that being said, I also plan to LLC my company and holdings separately, maybe even start a foundation if the price is that high, which I believe it can reach. All my expenses throughout the year would be under my business, cars, travel, credit cards, purchases, and deduct whatever is applicable at the end of each year.
None of that I'm covering is financial advice again. Always seek a professional when making decisions about investing and tax implications. But those are some of the things that I wanted to share with you. And I have to give a shout out to a digital asset investor on some of those points as well. The big question we all have to answer for ourselves is, why are you here? What do you want from your investments? Now, once you answer the question for yourself, you can simply reverse engineer your life and figure out what you need. What is the goal? Do you want a new house, cars, vacations, second home, retire, fly private all over the world? Do you want all your time back? Simply put, do you want to make an impact on your life, or do you want your investments to change and transform your life? I can tell you without a doubt, I don't want to be rich. I intend to be extremely wealthy. So I need to be honest with myself and figure out how much will the forever home cost me, plus upkeep, new cars for the next 40 years or so. Yes, I plan on sticking around. How much money do I need to set aside for health care for the next 45 years? And so on and so on and so on. How many trips do you think you'll take a year? This kind of thing. Average these things out in your mind and start asking yourself, do I want to take these trips and stay at a budget inn? Or do I want to take these trips and stay at 4 or 5 star places? These are the kinds of things you need to start walking through. You know, how much money annually do I think I will need to be able to play and have my time back, and to be able to have the people I love and care about around me so I can share these experiences with them? Because I don't think sharing them alone is going to be very enjoyable. So that's a part of it for me too. But when you do that, you will know how much that will all cost you, and you can multiply that by an exit price that you would want or need based on how much you think you would need to hold. And then, based on when you want to start living your life, like I want to retire in 5 years and the price would need to be X amount. If I think I need to have $50 million or $5 million, I don't know what that is for you. And I think it's relative to each individual. So, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to fly around the whole world. I just want to be home and have my house paid for and raise my kids and pay off my tuition for my children and, maybe give them a little money for a starter home. And that's a beautiful thing too. So, it's very different for everybody. But I think if you look at some of these things, you'll get some good ideas. I know I've gotten some great ideas from all of the people that I've looked at here. So, when it comes to this, I would just simply say, take these things into consideration, but always remember too, that we are dealing with a new emerging asset class. Digital assets are a new asset class being introduced into the traditional commodities market. And because of that fact, we are not dealing with stocks. These things are different. And the fact that imagine stocks being introduced for the first time in the history of trading and investing, right? So that's kind of what we're witnessing here. Even though the digital assets have been around for at least a decade or more now, the truth is that this is going to be greatly affected, I believe, going forward, because the economy is going to go through an enormous struggle for at least a couple more years, if not 4 or 5. I think you couple that in with the idea that most analysts and experts are predicting that the traditional stock market may crash as much as 80% in the coming months and years. It is time to start having these conversations with ourselves, and everybody's going to come up with different answers for themselves, and that's exactly what you should be doing. Just be very careful, when you do come up with these things, how much you share or don't share. Like I said, one of the most important things is you stay very personal and private about what you hold, or not what you hold, but how much of what you hold, and never reveal anything to where you're allowing someone to reverse engineer your portfolio. So, all right, that's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Again, check out the links in the description and comment box, and I will catch all of you on the next one.